Welcome to Ivy and Ivy, Generations of Justice.
Hey everybody, welcome into an all-new episode of Ivy and Ivy, Generations of Justice with attorneys Sam and Vic Ivy over at Ivy and Ivy Law. I'm your host, Mike Leon. They've got deep roots out in West Tennessee and decades of courtroom experience. Sam and Vic, they've been helping families, find clarity and justice after life-changing losses. Today's episode, we're talking about wrongful death cases. Sam and Vic will explain what they mean, how they work, and what families should know before taking that next step. Gents, it's good to see you. Vic, I'm going to start with you. Could you explain what a wrongful death case under Tennessee law actually is?
Well, Mike, actually what the name is, a wrongful death. Someone's been killed or death has occurred as a result of an action of some other individual. And it could be a criminal type action or it could be a civil type action. Of course, we deal here at Ivy and Ivy with civil actions, and wrongful death would occur maybe in an automobile accident, or some accident that occurred on someone's premises, some situation like that. But the wrongful death is when a person is acting within their own rights or using their own civil liberties, such as driving down the highway, minding their own business, going to and from work or whatever they might be doing. And then another individual acts negligently. And it could be caused by being a distracted driver or being under the influence of an intoxicant, texting, some sort of action like that. But it would actually cause the death of the individual that is acting legally and rightfully. So a wrongful death is just what the term says. An individual has been caused to be deceased by the action of some other individual in a wrongful manner.
Sam, in that instance, who has the legal right to bring a wrongful death claim on the behalf of a loved one?
So states differ with that. In Tennessee, where we predominantly practice, the wrongful death proceeds would pass via what's called intestate succession. So that would be as if someone did not have a will. And the same thing applies with the person who has the right to bring the claim. So that's going to be the next of kin of the person who unfortunately passed away. Typically, that is usually either a surviving spouse or perhaps surviving children if there's no spouse, or they really share the claim together. But one of those parties will likely bring the claim, sometimes with the others also named as plaintiffs in the lawsuit on behalf of their loved one that has passed away, Mike. And sometimes the states are opened up in these cases, and then other times they're not. It tends to be a fact-by-fact, case-by-case situation on if that's done or not.
Yeah. Vic, can you dive in a little bit more on how a wrongful death case is different from the criminal case that could be happening or it could be filed around the same time?
Sure. With the criminal case, it could be something, for an example, if an 18-wheeler or semi-trailer truck driver was distracted for some reason, texting or under the influence of an intoxicant, and the vehicle that he struck or that vehicle struck caused the death of an individual, then the driver could be charged criminally with such things as wrongful death, the vehicular homicide, that sort of thing, where he would be liable civilly and criminally. Now, criminally, he could be charged with penalties such as jail time, fines, that sort of thing. And the victim or victims that might happen to be in the passenger vehicle or the other truck would be entitled to restitution from the truck driver and maybe the company under the Victims Restitution Act. Now, sometimes those are a lot smaller than what he could recover or the victims could recover civilly by going after the driver of the big rig. Now, I'm using that as an example. There are many other ways that a wrongful death could occur, such as top of the list is just flat out murder. That's a wrongful death, which is usually prosecuted criminally. It could be prosecuted civilly, but the majority of the time, you're going to have that as a criminal action because you're going to be looking at jail time. And usually you're not going to be able to recover a whole lot from that particular defendant civilly, but it's possible. It could be an action both ways. So you could have both criminal and civil actions or parallel proceedings in the same type scenario. We look at that and we work closely with the district attorney's office. I have years and years of experience as a prosecutor, and Sam has been associated with these folks as well. So we work with the district attorneys in making for sure that in a wrongful death situation that the criminals are prosecuted as well as us recovering for the individual civilly.
And speaking of that recovery civilly, Sam, what kind of damages or compensation can a family pursue in those cases?
So, in a wrongful death case, the family has claims for what's called the pecuniary value of the life of the person that passed away in the accident, if the other factors can be proven. And those include things such as their lifetime lost earnings. If we were to go to trial on the case, we would use the life expectancy tables to calculate how long the person would have potentially lived had this unfortunate accident not happened. And then we will get expert proof in the form of usually an economist or someone else that is well versed in these things to calculate the value of their life. And then there's other avenues of recovery and claims as well. Of course, the pain and suffering that the person may have endured before they passed away, as well as the loss of, the loss of kind of consortium type claim that the family may have for losing their loved one as well. So there's many elements and different types of claims that can be pursued under the blanket wrongful death claim. And we look at all those and we present every single one of them that we can for our victims in these unfortunate cases.
Yeah. Vic, in previous episodes, we've talked about the investigative process. How do you guys begin building the proof in these wrongful death cases? What evidence or investigation is most important early on in the process?
That's a good question. First, what we're going to do, if individuals will contact us immediately so that we could get on the case quickly, the first thing that we're going to do is to interview the witnesses of the accident or what occurred. Hopefully it's an accident, not an intentional act. Wrongful deaths can occur by the intentional acts of individuals, but we'll start building the case by interviewing the witnesses. Then we'll get the crash report from the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Here, if the accident has occurred here in Tennessee, we're very familiar with working with the troopers here in Tennessee. Our experience goes way back as far as I was assistant district attorney for several years and a federal prosecutor for many years. So we have a close relationship with all the state agencies and federal agencies, and we're able to help in that regard. But once we get the crash report, then we'll start bringing in our experts to start examining the vehicles, start analyzing the black box, the dash cams, the trailers, all those sorts of things. If it happens to be an 18-wheeler crash, if it's another type of wrongful death act, then we will start looking at the evidence that occurred. If it's on a premises, then we'll bring in those type experts. All sorts of situations could occur that would cause a wrongful death, such as even being on the premises and a child's swing that was wrongfully constructed or something that occurred, which would be a thing that you wouldn't expect to happen. That's a wrongful death if the person knowingly did it. Now, we run into all sorts of scenarios, Mike, where wrongful death cases occur. So we're just going to have to look at those on a case-by-case basis, but we start collecting evidence immediately because we're always looking at going to trial and recovering as much money as we possibly can for the victims.
Sam, let me ask you then, what are some of the most common situations you guys have seen in your experience that lead to these wrongful death claims out in Tennessee?
So the most common type of situation that we deal with are serious automobile accidents that result in the wrongful death of one or more uh, people in a car, usually, and that's unfortunate, but it occurs quite often here. And so those situations obviously are one where you want to get us involved, or the family wants to get us involved early on so we can start investigating the facts of that case to help the family prevail for compensation for their loved one. However, we've also had a myriad of other incidents that result in wrongful deaths. One of them I can recall is a defective type of bridge situation where someone, fell off of a bridge. There's also defective product cases that we have had, and various other things, as Dad mentioned, premises cases, dangerous conditions that have resulted in someone's death. So any type of situation that the family has a question about, or there's a potential avenue of recovery there, we urge you to give us a call. The consultation is free, and there's no cost to you until we're successful on the case. So please give us a call if you've had an unfortunate incident where you've lost a loved one in a situation. We'd be glad to take a look at it and counsel you through that situation.
And let's talk about what that first conversation kind of looks like. So Vic, the family comes into you guys. What maybe they're hesitant to even speak to an attorney. What does the first conversation from your firm's lens look like?
Yeah. So, Mike, usually when the individual is involved with a wrongful death case as a victim in the case, or the loved one of a victim, they're usually in a state of grief, or almost still in a state of shock that this has occurred. They're not thinking rationally sometimes. And so we initially guide them through the process of finishing up the affairs of their loved one. And that may involve such things as opening an estate, or dealing with the funeral expenses, that sort of thing that occur. So we help guide them through that. But all at the same time, we're looking at building a case, the case against the perpetrator, the person that has caused the loss of this individual. So we're kind of wearing two hats at one time. With one hat, we're dealing with the grief of the loss of an individual. And on the other hat, we're wearing, which is the tougher hat, and the one that we start building a case, because we're always looking at trial and the evidence that we're going to use at trial to recover as much money as we possibly can for that individual that has lost a loved one.
Yeah. And as we wrap on this episode, Sam, and I'll turn to you as well, Vic, you can chime in. What would you say to someone who's lost a loved one and maybe they're still a little unsure, they're hesitant if they even have a case or even how to start this process? What would be your message to them?
Yes, sir. So I know in these situations, it is a very emotional thing. It's hard to overcome a tragedy that's occurred like this in someone's life. And we don't want to downplay that situation, but the legal side of it can move fast on the outset. Evidence needs to be collected in order to get the most money out of these cases for the victim's family. And we're here to help you do that and guide you along the way as best we can. We can never replace your loved one that was lost, unfortunately, but what we can try to do is pick up the pieces, help you do that, and try to get the most compensation you can for the wrongful death of a loved one. And we're here to help you with that.
I would just say this, at Ivy and Ivy Law, we're easy to talk to. You can come in, we'll sit down and talk to you. We've been through the situation personally where we've lost loved ones. And so we can sit down, commiserate with you, and relate to your situation. We are glad to sit down with you and talk to you about how to finalize the affairs of your lost loved one. And like I said before, wear that tough hat and start building the case against the individual that caused the loss of your loved one.
Yeah. Gents, thank you as always for the time and insights on this subject matter. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone out there for listening to this installment of Ivy and Ivy Generations of Justice. If your family has lost a loved one because of someone else's negligence, Sam and Vic are here to help you understand your rights and seek justice for that family member. Do me a favor, visit ivyandivy.com to learn more and connect with Sam and Vic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review and comment, or share the episode with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.